Well, a very big welcome to you all. I'm very pleased to be here with our Coaching Cafe. This is Natalie Ashdown from the Open Door Coaching Group, and I'm really excited actually about our topic today, which is around the use of AI in coaching, and in particular, why we as coaches shouldn't be burying our heads in the sand. And welcome, Paula, our resident HR specialist. It's great to have you join me on the line as well.
Hi, everyone.
So before we begin, as always, let me acknowledge the traditional owners on the lands on which we're all meeting today and their continuing connection to the land, the waters, the communities of Australia and the lands from all around the world, where you might be joining us today. We pay our respects to them, to elders past, present and emerging, and elders from Indigenous communities from around the world. And we always do have many people dialing in from around the world. So whether you're listening to this via your favourite streaming service and podcasting, or listening to this live, welcome to our Coaching Cafe. Of course, if you are listening to this live, there's lots of people who are joining in. That's fantastic. And I say happy Friday to everybody as well. So our agenda for today, pretty simple actually. Over the past 3 or 4 weeks, we've been talking about trends in coaching. And in our past webinars, we've been talking about burnout, mental health, hybrid workplaces, and the trends that are going to continue. And you actually did tell us that was one of the major trends, to look at mental health and burnout and psychological safety in the workplace, these kind of topics. So we've covered those in our first series of webinars. Now we're getting into some real new learning, I think, for all of us as well. And that's to think about the use of AI in coaching. So that's what we'll be talking about today and over the next couple of weeks as well. So we can't answer and do everything in this short half-hour webinar, but we're going to really get into it, which I'm excited about. So if you are here for the first time, welcome. We are all about creating a community, sharing learned experiences and having thought-provoking conversations like this one. And of course, if you are here because you would also like your CCEs for your ICF credential, no problems, just wait on the line until the end and we will share that with you. Of course, if you are new, if you are a regular to the Coaching Cafe, welcome. You know, we love Fridays. We love connecting with you here on a Friday. So it's wonderful for you to be joining us. All right, let's get into our conversation, shall we? Free ICF CCUs, as I mentioned. Let's talk about the use of AI in coaching. And as I said, I need to kind of keep a lid on it because I'm rather excited to share a lot of information with you. And we do have that poll up at the moment. So as you're joining us, you can simply answer the poll. How would you rate your knowledge about the use of AI in coaching? Have you used AI in coaching in the past? And how would you describe your feelings about the use of AI in coaching? So feel free to answer that poll, and then I will give you the answers to our poll in just a short time. So let's get into it, shall we? As I said, 3 parts we're going to cover over the next series of our webinars as well. We're just going to do this introduction today, but I hope it really gets you thinking. We want to talk about the use of AI in coaching, as I said. First up and foremost, I want to say we are not experts in any way. The use of AI in coaching is like a big rabbit hole. Once you go down it, you start going in all different directions. There's so many things to think about. There's so many, you can find yourself playing with things for quite some time, as I did yesterday in the preparation for our webinar, and like an hour's gone. And you just can't help yourself if you really get into it. But I'm not suggesting in any way that we're experts. What I am suggesting, though, is it's not going away. And we really, as coaches, need to think about, from a continuous improvement point of view, from an evolution of our coaching profession, just like every other profession, how do we harness the power of AI, and what does it mean to our coaching, and what are we going to do in terms of reacting to the new technologies that are available? Definitely not going away. In fact, the ICF has got an artificial intelligence coaching standards work group, spearheaded by 2 amazing researchers. In fact, one that has actually developed an AI coaching application, which I'll show you today. And if you go to Coaching Federation /about and go to Coalition Technology and Coaching, The ICF are starting to put up some white papers. There's a couple of very good research seminars as well. So you can start to see the ICF's response to AI in coaching. In particular, the ICF are concerned about, well, not concerned about, I suppose that's not the right word. What they're really focusing on is ethics and standards. If we are going to use IA in coaching, what does that mean? What kind of standards do we need? How do we ensure core competency? And of course, how do we ensure that users and clients are aware of what's happening in the background as well? There's a lot of conversation also about whether this will ever replace the human coach. And of course, we will talk about that today as well. So just giving a little bit of background of why we think it's not going away and letting you know that the International Coach Federation from a global perspective has got a focus as well, which is great to hear. Alrighty, so I want to just quickly talk about what we're talking about when we talk about AI. So in artificial intelligence, if you listen to the ICF webinar, it's a really good education piece, actually. The lecturers and the scientists are talking about 3 different types of artificial intelligence: narrow, general, and super intelligence. The narrow one is where where the machine-based learning is doing one task really well. So from a coaching perspective, this is about, for example, helping people set their goals, be accountable for their goals, making sure those goals are SMART goals. And it's basically doing one task really well. And that's the setting of goals, the following up of goals, et cetera, et cetera. General and super intelligence is basically having machines act as intelligent humans to replace humans. And the scientists that I have been listening to say that that actually doesn't exist in the moment in our actual profession. Now, I haven't gone, as I said, you could research this forever, and I'm not an expert. So there might be other industries where this is actually happening, where machines have replaced humans as intelligent beings, so to speak. We're not seeing it in coaching yet. So as I said, not an expert, but I'm listening to what the experts in our profession are saying at this point in time. So they're basically saying, you don't have to worry, it's going to be okay, which is great and reassuring. However, we do need awareness, and also I think there's opportunity. So that's what we're talking about. So just to be specific about what we're talking about, we are talking about machine-based learning and the interactions with AI and machines in that narrow kind of field, because that's what they're saying coaching is up to at the moment, if that makes sense. Now, jump in, feel free to ask questions. If you want to interact with us, please feel free to pop a message into the chat box, and I'll pick up your questions. I won't be able to necessarily answer them all, but I will be able to take it on board, and then we will develop those questions and answers together as an alumni over the next couple of weeks as well. So let's quickly end our poll here. We've had quite a number of responses, which is fantastic. And I can actually show you the results here. And hopefully I'm sharing my screen, Paula. Yes.
You are,
so
yes.
Great, thank you. How would you rate your knowledge about the use of AI in coaching? And 100% of people on the line today said they would rate their knowledge as low. Well, that is great. Thank you for sharing that. And I can tell you, up until more recently, my knowledge was low as well. It is something you can research and get into. So I'm with you. I'm probably just a little bit further on than low, maybe somewhere between low and medium. So thank you for sharing. The next question is around, have you used AI in your coaching? And 90% of you who responded said you have not. And there's a couple of people, 10% of you have actually said you have used AI in your coaching. So I would be very keen, if you'd like to pop a message into the chat box, tell us how you're actually using AI. That would be great to hear. And then the other question I asked was, how would you describe your feelings about the use of AI in coaching? Let's view the details here. These were, can you see that now, Paula?
No, I've just got, I did not answer the question.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So I'll just read out some of the responses. Someone has said inevitable. Does this mean within sessions, tools, or marketing? So thank you, that's a good clarification. Curious, excited, but feeling that I need to upskill, intrigued, cautious, interesting, unsure, positive, uncertain, interested. So there's a lot of curious, a lot of interested, a lot of uncertainty. And I think that is to be expected as well, particularly if we don't have much knowledge. So I'll look at those different answers for you as well. And we can put out some information there too about how people are actually feeling. But overall, someone said love it, fantastic, that's great. It sounds like we've got someone who's got a bit of expertise. Intrigued, curious, interested, yeah, potentially helpful. Those are the kind of feelings that people are having at the moment. A little bit of caution, a bit of uncertainty, a bit of unsure as well. So that's very good of you. Thank you for sharing.
I think, Natalie, if you looked at any change management process, all of those feelings are exactly what people would be feeling through any change process.
Yeah, absolutely. Also through any adoption of new technology and the like as well. So yes, I agree with you. Thanks for sharing that, Paula, for sure. Excellent. All right, so let's get into more information to share with you. I want to share with you how we are seeing at the moment the use of AI in coaching. And it's quite interesting to see how it is actually evolving as well. So how is AI currently being used in coaching? Well, first of all, the first way that you might know, you'll be very familiar with potentially, and that's in content writing. So yes, for marketing purposes, it's people using AI for writing blogs, for writing, even writing white papers, that kind of thing, for writing resumes, for writing, it's basically for doing content writing. So that's what we've seen a lot of the information, a lot of the discussions been about, particularly in adult education at universities with kids using AI to write their assignments and things like that. So in coaching, if you think about the business side of it, definitely being used for content writing. So that's one part of it. But what I'm interested in is in actual coaching, the coaching that we all do. That's what I'm interested in. And that's what I'd like to drill into as well today. So coaching has definitely been used as what they call a virtual coaching assistant. Now you're seeing all of this all the time. These are the chat bots, the responses. Hi, this is insert name of chat bot. How can I help you today? And it's the how can I help you today and the troubleshooting, clicking on links to try to answer your question kind of coaching. So it's a virtual coaching assistant that is asking questions, getting input from the user to respond. And Open Door even has these on our website. So lots of websites you'll see. Of course, if you're like me, I just open up that chat box and start typing in real human, real human, real human, until the real human kicks in. Because if I'm going onto a chat box, I've probably already searched and had a look for things. And so, I want to talk to a real human. So what we're interested in from a coaching point of view, which I'll show you, is that there have been applications, apps built that use this virtual coaching approach. So yes, we're seeing it in customer service, for example, but we're also seeing it in live apps now as well. Another way that it's been used from a coaching point of view, if you think about coaching in the workplace in particular, is what I'm labeling sophisticated data analysis. And what is happening is that they're using AI to scrape. They call it scraping. So they're gathering all of this information, like transcripts, clients' responses, phone calls, those kind of things, and inputting all of that data into an AI program, and then they're shaping responses to client needs. Now, what that means is, for example, if I'm in a call center in the workplace, I can take all the transcripts of all the recordings, put them all into the big AI bucket, analyze it, and think about how is the client responding, and think about it from if I ask this question, what happens? All of that data that's available in call centers, for example, can help shape responses to clients. So it's then enabling the next piece, which is what we call what I'm labeling best practice. So what some organizations are already doing is analyzing this big data set, if you like, and then using that to, I use that data set, or they're using that data set to then to compare my coaching. So if I'm coaching on the phone, or I'm doing coaching in the workplace, so a quality call, for example, we can analyze my call against the best practice, what's been best practice against the entire database, if that makes sense. It can be used for self-assessment, quizzes, performance matrices, all of those kind of things. So it's kind of a continuous improvement, best practice approach to things. And organizations are actually doing this today. The other thing that coaching has been used for is that AI has been used for in coaching is scenario simulations. Now, what we mean by this is, and Paul is going to go into this a little bit more for you next week as well. So, for example, I have to have a difficult conversation in the workplace. What are the top 5 questions, or what's the approach I should take? So help me with how I should frame that conversation. Help me with what questions I should ask. Now, I've been playing with this. So I've typed in that kind of thing into AI, into a chat bot, and said, I'm having a difficult conversation. What do I need to remember? Now, that's fine, because we could put that into any search engine, couldn't we? Google. So if I said 5 things I have to remember about having difficult conversations, you could come up with them right now. And if you went on to Google, Google would give you that. What's interesting about AI is then you can say, given what you'd said above, what's the best question, or how would you script a conversation? And so it's saying things like, how would you script the conversation if the person, for example, keeps turning up for work late? How would you script the conversation if they had low self-awareness? So you can type that into Google, but what AI is doing is, as you're interacting with it, you are building on what was said previously. I also tested things like, what do I do if they cry? Now, you can type each of these separate things into Google, but you're building as you go. So what's happening in organizations is they're building scenarios, and then they're allowing people to interact with those scenarios. And that's where the coaching comes into it. Now, here's the thing, everybody. Is it coaching like we know it? Is it training? Is it mentoring? These are the questions that I start to ask. Is it actually coaching? Are they actually doing coaching, that what we would call coaching? Well, the answer, I think, is yes and no, actually. And I'll show you an example of why I say that. So we're seeing, I would describe those scenarios that I've said so far as more training, I suppose. What we're talking about is actually the coaching element. So asking good questions, getting back responses, and then changing our questions and our responses based on what we receive back, the basics of coaching. So that leads me to talking about AI being used in coaching around self-coaching and goal attainment. This is probably the biggest area that we're seeing, which is the interactions with the apps at the moment. It's where the apps are actually saying, what would you like to achieve today? What would you like to focus on today? And I type into the app, I'd like to focus on my time management. And the app comes back and says, okay, what are the top 3 things you need to do today? And I say, write a proposal, deliver a coaching cafe, and clean out my email. And then the app will go, okay, and so it'll drill down on those actual things that I'm typing in. Now, the interesting thing is, if you try this, even with ChatGPT, you kind of can't help. I couldn't kind of help myself. I just started interacting with the actual questions I was getting back. And it kind of felt real. Well, it is real because I'm a real person interacting. The questions that were coming back were quite targeted, and I'll show you an example in a moment. What's interesting is then, if we analyse that from a coaching point of view, I would say that's basic ACC level coaching. So a very basic level of coaching, not the kind of coaching that we would all be doing, which is picking up on nuances, etc., etc. However, they are saying that that's where the technology is going, to be able to pick up on. There's AI, as you know, that can see people's facial cues and gather all that information, like if we're at a supermarket and they're analysing this person's walking down an aisle and what's happening in their face as they're seeing certain things on the supermarket shelf. So all of that's happening, and that's what they're suggesting is the direction that coaching is going, that it could be analysing someone's face in the moment and then saying, hey, it seems like you look frustrated or you've got a frown on your face. What's happening for you? So lots of things that are actually becoming possible. All right, let me pause for a moment, see if there's any questions or comments coming out. Oh, everyone's saying, International Women's Day. Thank you. Yes, thank you for mentioning that, everybody. Happy International Women's Day. And someone's dialing in from Kyoto, Japan, and has reminded us about that. It's lovely to hear that it's international as well. Peter's telling us he uses AI in a simple way to research industry, technical backgrounds, get a better appreciation for the context of the client. So yes, using it in that way is an excellent idea. Quickly tell me the top things I need to know about this industry, client, whatever it might be. You can use it for things like survey results, put it all in there, analyze the survey, give me the top 10 trends or highlights, whatever that might be as well. So all of that is really great use. Yeah. So giving you a few ideas about how it is being used in coaching at the moment. That's the purpose of my introduction as well. Now, let me show you some of the actual apps that are out there and live now. So you can go onto an app called rocky.ai, ROCKY.ai, and this was this app is basically you enter your goals. So it's doing that. Imagine it's doing that single task. Enter your goal. Let's keep you accountable. Let's break it down. Let's make sure you're doing it, and let's give you thumbs up, or as you can see here on the screen, let's give you like happy emojis if you're actually responding. So you know what we're like. We love these emojis and the thumbs up and all that kind of thing. Well, this app is doing it. It's going, I like it. Okay, good on you. Congratulations. Sounds like you're on track. So what's happening is it's saying, I've got a little example there. It's I love how you focus on building your success. Congratulations. So we've completed this part of our check-in today. What would you like to do next? But it's giving some thumbs up and things like that as well. So you can go and search and have a little look at that website. The other one to have a look at is this one called AI Coaching. This one is coaching, it's Vici Coaching, so VICI. This one was built by an engineer who is a coach who was interested in artificial intelligence and said, well, I'll just go and build an app. And then we'll, off the back of that, do research, try to understand, look at the data, the metrics, the points at which people switch on and switch off, etc., etc. And if you have a look at, if you can just see the screen, so I've got it on my app here and a picture. It says, before we get started, what's your name? What would you like to achieve today? So it's basically stepping you through a process. Now, this app has the Grow model built into it. And it also has, for those of you that were familiar with Grant's work, he came up with a process that you step people through when you're coaching, a basic process, including, as the Air Force people would know, the OODA loops, or the feedback action loop as well. So he took the Grow model and Tony Grant's work and built it into an app to step people through that process with thumbs up, etc., etc. The thing about this is it holds and stores the data, and then it can come back and ask you, so last week you said that you wanted to achieve this. How did you go? How would you rate your success? And so then, like I said, before you know it, you're kind of interacting and you're kind of getting into it. So that's another app that you can have a little look at and play with as well. As I said, taking us and stepping us through a standard process, which is what they're suggesting is where we're at the moment. Let me give you an example. Here we go. I went on to ChatGPT And I had done some preliminary work telling them that I wanted ChatGPT to coach me. And in the end, it started like basically telling me what to do. So not coaching me. I said, just ask me the questions, ChatGPT, and I will give you my responses. So it said, of course, let's begin. And it said, hello, thank you for joining me today. How are you feeling? And so yesterday I said, I'm feeling really tired and distracted. ChatGPT said, I understand. Feeling tired and distracted can make it difficult to focus and be productive. Tell me more about what might be contributing to your fatigue and distractions. And at this point, I went, wow. It's picked up on what I've said. It's expressed empathy, and it's digging into now the actual topic, really tired and distracted. So here's the thing that we're going to do in a couple of weeks' time. We're going to take our transcripts and actually have a look at how we could have made them better using some of the AI. So that's a little taster for the future. But here is something that that we would expect as coaches. We would expect ACC level coaches to be doing, not just going, all right, well, I hear that you're tired. What do you want to focus on? Right? So it's express that empathy. Tell me more what might be contributing. And I have said, this is all real, by the way. I stayed up too late last night. I also had a really big day yesterday, pushing hard on a project, and I can't seem to focus. So this is all true. And it said, sounds like you had a demanding day. I just have to move this screen out of the way. And your sleep may be affecting your ability to focus. It's important to be getting enough rest to recharge. Let's explore some strategies to help you regain focus, productivity, despite feeling tired. How about we start by identifying 1 or 2 key tasks that you need to accomplish today? So can you hear, and I'm watching the time, can you hear how it's doing a single thing? It's doing a single thing. It wants me to set my goal around what am I going to do next, etc. And this is where a better coach, a more experienced coach, a human coach will say, and we're trained with our ICF core competencies, you know, and I know, we would go, okay, sounds like you're talking about lack of sleep, but it sounds like you need to focus. So where would you like to take this conversation today? What is it that you would like to focus on? So here, ChatGPT is putting me in the funnel and leading me down a funnel. And that's the single task that it's doing for me. So it sounds like you've had a demanding, so it's expressing empathy, but how about we start by identifying 1 or 2 key tasks that you need to accomplish today? And I said, sure, if you think so, if you think that's what I should do. Great, let's start there. What are the most important tasks you need to accomplish today? Let's break them down into smaller, manageable steps to help you tackle them more effectively, even when feeling tired and distracted. Can you see how it's building on what I've actually said? And I like it. Open questions, break them down, make them manageable. And then I went with it. Okay, I'm trying to get a proposal out to a client. So there's a lot that we can actually analyze here about how it's taking me down a funnel, as opposed to more advanced coaching where we might dig in a bit more, ask more questions about where do you want to go, for example. And it says, excellent, great, crafting a proposal. Let's break it down to smaller, manageable steps. Can you identify what information needs to be included in the proposal? This could include details about project scope, timelines, deliverable, pricing, and other relevant information. Once we have a clear outline of what needs to be included, we can prioritize and tackle each section one at a time. Of course, I said, I don't really want to. I'm so tired. So what I'm trying to make it do is go, I'm tired. Get off this single path. Okay. What's the question it should have asked me? It should have asked me at this point, well, tell me what you'd like to focus on. We've already talked about that, but what's most important to you today? Or what do you want to achieve today? Is there something you still want to focus? So there's lots of other questions we would have thrown in here. It demonstrates empathy again. I understand you're feeling tired and unmotivated. It's completely normal, blah, blah, blah. And then it's drilling down. Is there a specific aspect of the proposal that feels daunting or overwhelming? So it's still going, all right, I get it. You're stressed. it's probably important to you. Let's see if we can find a way of making this more manageable. Is there a particular part of the proposal that you need to focus on? It's doing everything, like really, really good ACC coaching, I'd say. As I say, still trying to lead me down into what are you going to do? What's the first thing you're going to do? Let's break it down, et cetera, et cetera. So I know we're right on time, but I just really wanted to give you an insight into what's happening and an actual live example of what the coaching actually looks like. And as Ian said, nudges, recognition are important. Apps can do that. Can coaches do that, or is it influencing? Yes. So, you know, a coach that's a beginner coach will go, right, you need to work on a proposal. Let's do that. That's what ChatGPT is doing, as opposed to, right, I hear that you want to work on a proposal, but let's just talk about what's really most important to you and what's going to make this easier. So all those millions of questions you might ask that are probably coming up for you, that's where that's what ChatGPT is not doing in this scenario at the moment. And Ben said it's a fascinating scenario. Thank you. Chan has actually said, can AI really understand what tired means? Can it, like, actually, I was tired. This is a live example. And I'm like, got my head down. I'm like, oh, you know, like it can't see me. It can't respond. It doesn't know that it might know that I've gone out and made myself a cup of tea and come back to it. So it might know there's a elapsed time. There is bots I've seen which go, oh, are you still there? It seems like you might be thinking. So yeah, the outcome question is not a hard task for AI to achieve, I agree. So there you go. And then it gives me a whole lot of mentoring. You know, sleep plays a crucial role in our physical and our mental health, helps you improve your energy levels. And then it says, given that you're feeling tired and you're finding it challenging to focus on tasks like crafting a proposal, it might be a good idea to take a break and get some rest. Is there an opportunity for you to schedule some time for rest and relaxation, or adjust your schedule to allow for more sleep? So we can see it's identified my resistance. Now it's going down another pathway. Again, this is now kind of mentoring, directing, and telling me, you know, it's not really asking those. And I said, no, I should get the proposal done, et cetera, et cetera. So again, you said you want to do the proposal, let's break it down. So it's gathering the information I've given it, and it's trying to adjust. It's trying to keep me on that pathway, and off we go. It's deciding the direction. That's right. That's absolutely right. Yeah. And of course, don't forget, whatever I'm inputting is actually influencing what I'm getting back as well. So that's the other thing too. Quite task focused. Yes, you're tired. That's tough. Let's get back to the task. Yes, Pete, spot on. And you know what? We hear rookie coaches doing that. And that will be a tick. That will get you to ACC level of coaching. It actually will. You are asking good quality questions. You're speeding someone through a process. They're getting an outcome, et cetera, et cetera. So it feels like to me that almost beginner level of coaching. And don't forget, sometimes coaches, when they're just new, they don't even express the empathy. So it's actually doing more than what sometimes we hear even rookie coaches doing. Like, it's like, right, you want to do a proposal? Let's talk about that. Yeah, but I'm really tired. Okay, let's talk about the proposal. So that ability to express empathy, etc. I actually asked as interest, what do you do when you're tired? And it said, I can't respond to that because I'm not human. What I can do, you know, so it was actually, I tested a few things like that as well. Anyway, hopefully this is giving you some insights. Now, I know I'm over time, but there is pros and cons, and I'll put them up there, and we'll talk about them more in our next session. So the pros, 24/7, global accessibility for those people that have the access to software or internet, etc. And they're talking about a societal impact through affordability. So if I can't afford a coach, a human coach, I could actually get an app, or I could interact with ChatGPT, for example, and I can actually set goals. I asked it, I said, I'm struggling to set performance goals. Could you give me some goals? Because I have to put it into my PAR. And it came up with really good goals. And then I said, oh, those goals are a bit fancy. Could you make it a bit more simpler? And it did. And I thought to myself, I reckon there's a lot of people out there cut and pasting those performance goals. And then I tried all sorts of different things. So that's using it to give you back information as opposed to what we're talking about with the coaching. So definitely with self-coaching, developing a question bank, which we'll talk about a lot more. There's a lot of pros. Low value. So what they're talking about is that low value coaching activities are going to be used. You can use AI for journaling, questionnaires, etc. But of course, as you know, from a comms point of view, I also think we can use it for continuous improvement and analysis of our actual coaching. I'm going to show you in the next webinar how we can improve our coaching by analysing our own transcripts. And I will show you a PCC level coaching scenario, one of my recordings, and I'll show you how AI could have, how I can use that for continuous improvement. So very interesting. Cons, we know. Human connection and real-time reactions. You've seen it in that example. It's process-orientated at this point, and it relies on input, right? So like everything, everything in coaching relies on input, but here it's only relying on my written input. There's big issues and concerns about confidentiality, user and data management. So if I'm typing this into an AI bot in my organization, is it confidential? Who gets to see it? These kind of things. There's a lot of discussion about AI having discrimination or biases built into it, the discrimination and the biases of the actual developers built into it. So I have done some things like, what kind of performance conversation, what kind of questions should you ask a female in a performance review? What kind of questions should you ask a male person in a performance review? What kind of questions should you ask a person who is non-gender, etc., in a non-gender, non-binary in a performance review? So I'm trying to test the discrimination and bias here as well. And of course, ethical considerations around what they're saying about ethical considerations is that how does the bot know, how does the AI know that yes, it's a goal and it's a well laid out goal, but is it an ethical goal? So you're coaching and you're breaking it down, et cetera, but there's ethical considerations around what that goal might be. And we would know from a human point of view, we would say, actually, that's not an area that I can coach you in, or that sounds unethical, or that is against the code of conduct, or it's against Fair Work Australia. So we would, with our knowledge and experience, we might even say that, take off our coach hat, put our mentor hat on. They're suggesting that that's been built in a lot more to AI, particularly where it's organizational based. So you can build in the ethics of the actual organization, but it's a big consideration at the moment. Discrimination, ethics, confidentiality, the process orientation. And let's face it, it's human connection and real-time interaction that, of course, AI cannot do at this point. It can feel like it, but it is not. So that is, as we always say, AI will never replace that. And I'm prepared to go never. As someone said recently on a webinar I watched, not in my lifetime anyway. So who knows? It's a big call, isn't it, from that perspective? Ian said also, a human can pick up when a client needs another professional or other professional help and pick it up in the moment, as opposed to maybe I have to write into a chat or into an app that I'm feeling mentally, I've got anxiety or I've got depression or I'm feeling a little bit, not confident or a bit woozy or a bit, something like I'm expressing something that then would make it send me that information. Yeah. All Alrighty, look, I have gone over time. I think this is going to be a little bit of the case. There's so much to talk about. So I'll leave it there. Please feel free to tell me if you've got any questions and the like. I hope that this opened up the opportunities. I hope it opened up the conversation and the actual exploration. I've shown you a couple of actual apps that are live and working right now. They're out there, they're being used, they're complementing, as we say, human coaching. We will dig into the pros and cons a lot more as well, giving you a live example. Thank you, everyone. I'm getting lots of ticks and clappy hands, etc. That's really wonderful. And I think it's something that we can really go, all right, this is interesting. Let's start digging into this. I will show you, as I said, on a webinar that we do next. I want to show you how we can use this for continuous improvement. I put my PCC level recording transcript into AI and I asked it, what questions should the coach have asked? What better questions should the coach have asked? And I was gobsmacked by the answers. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I could have asked way better questions there. And that's PCC level 2. So we talked kind of ACC level today. We'll explore PCC. Anyway, thank you, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your interaction. Thanks for sharing the poll. Of course, that ability to promote, enhance, or promote change in the client. We'll talk about that as we go. If you're interested in, we've got team coaching, mental health first aid, certificate for and workplace and business coaching, our diploma. Thank you. All the claps there, everything is wonderful. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy your coaching. Enjoy your AI coaching, might I say. And we will look forward to catching up with you at our next webinar next week.